What's up, guys? So this is video 1, 12 weeks out from my USAPL meet in Wichita, Kansas. I think I will be documenting my average body weight and also my best lift of the big three, my best set of the big three during the week. Just kind of the beginning of the videos to give you guys a kind of cliff note version of how things went. So jumping right into it here with the back squats on Monday, first day of training for me. So eights here, and you'll see most of the work I've done this past week, I will do for the next 2 or 3 weeks, will be in that higher repetition range. So I back squatted eights on Monday, sevens on Wednesday, and then fives on Friday. So very, very high volume for me. High volume for probably anyone. And if you've watched the previous 2 videos I've put out about the hypertrophy training and kind of the goals that you want to accomplish during that 12 to 9 week out, maybe a little bit closer to the meet if you're more of a novice lifter, it'll make more sense of kind of the why behind this. But overall, felt very good. As I've mentioned in a lot of my other previous training videos, I don't work entirely off of percentages when I do a volume phase, but I do use a percentage range. So I think on this day, they're supposed to be eights at around 68%. So what I do is I use that number as an anchor, and I think it was actually 335 on this day. I hit my first working set right around there. It's probably going to be actually that number or plus or minus 5 pounds. And then based on how that number feels, I'll either go up, go down, or stay the same. So again, it just helped me auto-regulate the week a little bit. But I think with the more popular RPE style of training, or probably more correctly, the back off sets, doesn't work too well for me, at least in the hypertrophy or volume sets, or hypertrophy or volume phases of training. That tends to be a lot more useful during the strength and especially the peak, the taper part of a prep. We really need to understand how far how fast the bar is moving, how much more weight do you have another rep, and those things. When you're doing sets above 5, I don't feel like the RPE scale is a very great gauge of that. And really as a power lifter, I don't really care what my 10 rep max is or a top set of 8 is. I want to just use those higher reps to accumulate volume. So I usually use percentages there, and then we'll just kind of go plus or minus 10 or 15 pounds off that anchor number. So back onto the squats Friday. These felt amazing. Best squats have felt in a very, very long time. Certainly the best they felt doing the low bar work, which I've just switched over the past couple of weeks now in, kind of transitioning into a prep and finding a meet I want to hit. So this actually was my anchor percentage, was 355. And it just felt like a joke. I felt like I could have done that for 10 reps. So I just kind of did little jumps, and I had 5 sets of 5 on this day. I just took little jumps, and every single set felt fine, so I just kept doing jumps. So I did 55 for 5, 65 for 5, 75 for 5, 85 for 5, and 400 for 5. And if at any time one of those sets felt bad or started to feel slow, I wouldn't have went up, right? So that's all about auto-regulation. You don't have to separate percentage style of work with auto-regulation. You can use them in conjunction with each other, and that's exactly what I do during my hypertrophy or volume phases. So again, this was 45 pounds above my geared percentage that day, but I felt very good. And if you look at this set, you're like, oh, that's a good decision, because you probably could have even done more weight, right? So the auto-regulation does take time, does take practice with really understanding, do you have more in you that day? Do you have less in you that day? And it's really hard to be an emotional lifter and do it correctly. But I found out it's really effective for me to kind of train in that optimal state for the day if I'm feeling either good or either bad. So, and here's actually footage from my second deadlift day. The first day was on Wednesday, but that will really just serve as a technical day during this hypertrophy phase. Be a lot of singles, doubles, triples at not a very high percentage, just something 55 to 65%. Just having me practice the lifts. I haven't been doing sumo deadlifts for very long, but Saturdays was my main pulling day, that very traditional 75 to 85% range for deadlifts. You'll also see here I'm doing full resets between reps. So it's actually called for triples, but I'm not doing a typical triple where I hit a rep, stop for half a second, hit a rep, stop for half a second. I'm doing about 10 to 20 seconds resets between reps. This is a good way to look at it here. So I set down, get in position, do all my normal stuff. I pull the repetition, as you'll see here, hopefully fast. It's actually felt pretty good this day. I drop the bar, I essentially count to 10, and then get my setup again. So I'm taking at least 10 seconds. That probably take me another 5 to 10 to actually grab the bar and pull it again after I get set up. But I'm just doing this as a precaution to make sure that all of my repetitions are very crisp, minimizing injury, because I have had some back issues the past few months. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to make sure I'm training healthy. And again, I did get hurt, I think, at least, doing a set of 6 deadlifts. So I kind of want to stay away from doing the very high repetition work or just getting carried away with myself in the middle of the set and doing something I don't really want to do or shouldn't be doing. So these felt really good though. I also did these the past 2 weeks with the resets. It's a little bit different for me. It's a little bit more controlled, more methodical way of deadlifting, but I think it will help me out in the long run. The last few clips here are from bench press, actually on Sunday, but there should be on Saturdays. Same reps and sets as the squats that were on Fridays. So just like I'm going to squat on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to bench on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays typically. The rep cadence will also be the same. For this week it was 8, 7, 5. And the actual number of sets will depend on how I feel. I always give myself kind of a range. So like on this day, it was supposed to be 4 to 6 sets of 5. I think I ended up doing 5 sets of 5 for bench press. So if I felt trash after 4 sets, I wouldn't do another one. But if I feel good after 4 sets, then I do an additional set. If I feel good again, I'll do an initial set, or an additional set, that is. It also kind of depends on my time constraints. If I need to go somewhere, if I have more time, less time. Again, just another way you can use auto-regulation in your training, not just the way on the bar, the total number of sets you're doing for the entire session. So that's it for this week, guys. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe here if you're new. I will have these every week. I may merge in some other stuff as well, like food and all that. So take care.